So the question is, how long should I realistically expect new aluminium windows and doors to last?
It's a really good question, and a lot of people ask this question.
Yeah.
And there's lots of factors on it. If I just look at aluminium as a whole, it lasts between 20, probably like 30 and 40 years, right? It's got a long lifespan, infinitely recyclable. You have to look at other factors. Things like how it was installed, the gearing, do you have the correct warranty? There's a lot involved in it. So realistically, if it's maintained really well, decades, up to 40 years.
Okay. So you spoke about it being maintained really well.
Yeah.
Can you define that? What do you mean by it being maintained really well? What does the person have to do? Because, there's obviously those who would just be like, fit it and forget about it. There's obviously that people.
The thing is, if you're going to the extra lengths to pay for aluminium, right, you should maintain it. And there are a couple of things. So from your installer, you should get something called an O&M manual.
Okay.
Which is abbreviated for operation and maintenance. Some of the most basic thing is just clean it. That's
really?
It. Clean it. The build-up of dust, dirt on the tracks, on the windows, clean it. I mean, it's powder coated. It's, aluminium is not going to rust. It's just not going to rust.
Yeah.
Yes, it can oxidize, but we're powder coating it. Every window, door you get from pretty much anyone, you're not going to get it in mill finish. You're going to get it powder coated. So it adds that extra layer of protection. Mm-hmm. So clean it, maintain it, make sure it doesn't get greasy, covered in dirt. There are some exceptions, right? So if you're by the coast, for instance, you have to now think of marine grade quality paint, hardware, etc. So cleaning becomes constant because you don't want the buildup of salt, especially on hardware. You want specific type of hardware as well. Because whenever someone asks the question of how long should I expect my aluminium windows and doors to last, aluminium is going to last.
Okay, yeah.
It's the hardware you got to think about. It's how you're using it. Are you using it correctly? Have you been shown how to use it correctly? The person who sold it to you, you want a good warranty. You want 15 plus year warranty. Yeah. You're paying for a really good high-end product. Expect to have a good warranty on your hardware, on your the profile, the finish. These are the little things you should look for.
If I'm getting you right, aluminium is going to last.
Totally.
As a product, as a standalone thing, aluminium lasts practically forever.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, but so it all depends on the use case, how the person is using the aluminium.
Yes.
Or how they use the windows. Obviously, if they don't take care of it, at the end of the day, it's not going to last.
Yeah, it's like with anything. All right, look at a BiFold door. Yeah. Look how it operates. It's sliding, or a sliding door. It's on a track. If you don't clean that track when it's dirty, if you don't grease that track when, every couple of times a year, it's not going to operate brand new, right? You service a car every year.
Yeah.
You don't just leave it.
Yeah.
Service your windows in a way, clean it. Definitely your bifold doors, definitely your sliding doors. That little extra care and attention really extends the lifespan because the track is really important, for instance.
Definitely.
You do not want the buildup of dirt because once it gets onto the rollers, it's much harder to clean. So be very mindful of dirt and the buildup of dirt on your profile, on your hardware. It doesn't take very long. I mean, it's not glass. It's just we're purely talking about the profile, sort of.
Glasses, obviously. Yeah. Okay. You mentioned that, you have to clean the tracks or grease the tracks.
Yeah.
I don't think most people know that.
No, they don't. So here's the thing. And it's not just, you don't get like WD-40, for instance.
Yeah.
Right? It's a specific type that you need to make sure you use. It's not like, it's not just any sort of lubricant will work.
Yeah.
But this should really be explained to you by the installer. And if the installers don't know, they can come to us. We can provide that information to anyone, really.
Yeah, I'm quite happy that you touched on that because, as I said, I'm not sure that most people out there, most homeowners know that they have to grease their sliding doors and their bifolds.
Yeah.
Because I think most people have the impression of fit the door, fit the window,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Like we wait.
Look, when you drive a car, in its lifespan, you're going to change the wheels a few times,
Of course, yeah.
right? If it's by an accident or naturally the air might start to come out, right? People check it if you go on a long journey, I will check the tires, see if they're in the right PSI, for instance.
Yeah.
It's the same scenario. What are the things you're constantly using? Just bear that in mind. And once you bear that in mind, you start to think, okay, if I'm constantly using something, it's wear and tear. Wear and tear is where it starts to fall down. Just maintain those small little things. It's huge. It makes a huge difference for longevity. And also potential misuse of a product. So with aluminium, cool, not a problem. Hardware we sort of touched upon. The other thing is, how are you using the product? Are you being a bit silly? Because a lot of people don't actually know how to open and close a bifold door properly.
Okay.
Honestly, the amount of times I've shown people, like, this is how you open and close a bifold. Everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's cool. You open the door and no, the way you open it and the way you close it, it's done in a very specific way because, again, hardware, rollers at the top, bottom, hinges, all of this is thought about when producing the product. When I open a bifold door, I don't want the leaf to just be blowing in the wind as I open the remaining ones. I want to make sure it's caught back, magnetic catch at the top or whatever's required in order for those two doors to stick together. I want to make sure that's engaged. Then I open the remaining ones. Because things like bifolds, they're not designed to open and close where everything is just free. Especially that lever door that most people will use, the master door that you're going in and out, that you're constantly using every single day. You want to make sure that's secured in a safe place so that when you're opening and closing it, it's not going to wear down on the rollers.
Right. You see, now that also goes back to something that I think most people who own bifold doors wouldn't know, that it's supposed to be open in a specific or very specific way. Because if I fit a bifold door in my house as a homeowner, I think I would probably only be interested in the door being, people are aesthetic, we as humans, we like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks amazing. Oh, that looks great. And that's usually the main focus when fitting bifolds or sliding doors.
Yeah.
Most people, it's not about the functionality of it. It's all about how does it look.
Yeah.
So if it looks good, it looks amazing, it looks great, I don't think I would be, if the installer or the manufacturer that made the door doesn't have any manual that says, okay, open it this way, I don't think I would be bothered about that, because it's a door. I mean, it's a door. I open the door, I go in, I come out, that's it.
So this is another thing that's really interesting, and a lot of people feel like this. Because when you're doing up your house, somebody will come in, they'll install the door, and you look at it like, wow, it's amazing, it's done, wow, it's finally in, the hole is secure, the glass is in, I'm happy with my product, right? A lot of people just don't show you how to use it properly. They don't. And in my experience, I've even seen some places, I've gone to so many different showrooms, and they're opening and closing the bifold wrong. They do, because that little extra bit of service goes a long, long way. Because as an installer, right, you don't want to hear back from the homeowner, there's something wrong with the bifold.
Yeah.
They don't. We as a fabricator don't want to hear, oh, there's something wrong with the bifold. We want to know, made it, perfect, installed, perfect, no issues. That's what we want. And the only way that's going to happen is if it's installed correctly. That's really big, massive. That's probably, so a lot of the issues, after sales issues, a lot of people think, oh no, aluminium windows, doors, no. It might not be installed correctly. Like genuinely, there are a ton of amazing installers out there, but there are also a ton of really bad ones.
Yeah.
Like they just want to in and out, don't really care too much, But if that bifold, if that sliding door, if that window has not been installed correctly, you can forget it. It doesn't matter how well you make something. You can forget it. It's not going to operate properly, and it's certainly not going to last up to 40 years. There's no way. So you have to ensure, actually it's really hard. As a homeowner, it's impossible to know this, right?
Yeah.
How do you go about this? This is like a whole other thing. You have to really do your due diligence on who's going to install that product.
Because speaking of how long, bifolds or aluminium doors last, and you spoke about how, you maintain it, how you open it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about rentals. Okay. If I'm going to rent a property,
Yeah.
I don't think the landlord will be like, oh yeah, so you see that door, you open it that way, or that way, or you need to grease that. I just walk in, move in, I'm done.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised though, because they don't know.
True.
And they're renting it out, and they're thinking, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just a door. It's just this. It's just that. A lot of people's mindset needs to change when it comes to windows and doors. These are the gateways to your house.
Yeah.
Literally. Without them, anyone can walk in and out.
True.
They are an essential fabric to your building. You have to have them. There is no two ways about it. You absolutely have to have them. And you want to make sure they're working properly. If I'm the homeowner and I'm renting out property, me personally, because I have the experience, right? I would explain everything. And everyone should explain everything. But it's a hard one. It's a real hard one, because if I'm renting out property, after many, many years, I sort of like forget it and think, oh, it's just a property. It doesn't matter.
That's it, yeah.
Right? Everyone who rents out property should have a pack of how to use things properly, genuinely. For windows and doors, it's a little bit different. The more moving components you have, the more issues that are likely to occur.
Okay. That makes sense. Interesting conversation. Very interesting conversation. I know this conversation is going to obviously be very insightful to anyone who sees this video, because I have learned a lot that I did not know about bifolds. Like they're supposed to be opened a certain way, or even the thing about sliders that you have to grease this and that. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Yeah. So it's a very insightful conversation, and we are definitely going to have more of this. Talk more, educate the masses, educate the public.